Hi, I'm Scott Davis, and welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information regarding our passage through this challenging and yet very hopeful time we're currently living in. This is the prenatal care for the birth of a new world age report for the Gregorian date of October 3rd, 2011, which is also One Eagle in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. And we're currently just past the peak of the sixth night energy of the ninth wave universal cycle of the Mayan Tun calendar, according to the research of Carl Johann Kalaman, and that peak occurred on October 1st and 2nd. And we're going to enter into the energy of the seventh day of this ninth wave universal cycle on October 11th. And I'll discuss the seventh day in detail later in this report. October 3rd is One Eagle in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar, which carries the themes of higher perspectives and keen vision, free spirit, messenger of faith and knowledge, patience, wings of spirit, value, manifestation of fertility, knowing the details, duality such as the sun and moon, the budding youth and the wise elder, male and female, the soaring eagle and the falling eagle, the messenger between heaven and earth. It also represents luck, hope, liberty, trust, good fortune, and good relationships. Eagles have the qualities of being able to observe movements from a great distance. And the One Eagle 13-day period could be used to gain greater perspective about the events in our lives through creating some distance between the observer and what is observed. Astrologically, the One Eagle Trecena, or 13-day period, begins with Mars being challenged by Jupiter on October 3rd. This is expansive energy which can lead to success, but you need to use caution with this to stay grounded. On October 6th, Mercury merges with Saturn, which lends discipline and planning to movement towards a new future while putting in some effort to move past the obstacles from the life which we're leaving behind. October 7th, Venus is supported by Neptune, and both these planets speak of love and romance and imagination, so this time is fertile for creativity. Venus enters Scorpio on October 9th, which will intensify our feelings about relationships, and Venus is also being supported at that time by the wounded healer Chiron. So this may involve healing through love to release our wounds from the past. The seventh day of this universal cycle of the Mayan Tun calendar begins on October 11th, and this happens to be occurring during the time of the Aries full moon. Well, full moons are about polarity, and the Aries Libra axis is about the self, which is Aries, and the other, which is Libra. So this time is about the balance of meeting our own personal needs while also supporting others in our lives. On the 12th, Mercury is being supported by Neptune, which stimulates our creative imagination and also enhances our senses. On October 13th, it's just a very, very busy day astrologically as Venus harmonizes with Pluto, deepening and intensifying our emotions and our love relationships. Also on that day, Mercury enters Scorpio and is supported by Chiron, bringing passion and healing to our communications. The Sun merges with Saturn on that day as well, which shines a light on our responsibilities. October 14th, Venus feels tension from Jupiter, creating expansion in our personal relationships and also creating personal growth. The seventh day of the Tun calendar is about fruition, and for the ninth wave universal cycle, this begins on October 11th and lasts until October 28th, and will reach its peak on October 19th and 20th. The seventh day is ruled by the Lord and Lady of duality and has the quality of completion. The seventh day brings about manifestation of all the previous days and nights that we've experienced on each level. We're currently in the seventh day of the lower 8 levels, and we will, so basically on October 11th, we will be on the 7th day of all 9 levels, and it will be we will be in that 7th day opening of all 9 levels until the calendar completes on October 28th, 2011. The 7th day bears the fruit of the level it completes. The 9th level, the universal cycle, is about unity consciousness and about co-creation. Also, it's important to note that the 7th day of this 9th level will be about completion and manifestation of the event field that was seeded during the first day of the universal cycle. And the first day of the universal cycle was began on March 9th, 2011 and ran for 18 days. So the events that we had then, that were seeded then, that we are seeing being played out during this 7th level of the universal cycle are the global financial stability, nuclear power issues, earth events, and revolution, as we've been seeing as a theme throughout the entire universal cycle. You may want to also look at what were the events that were being seeded in your own personal life during the first day back in March 9th and for those days, and notice how that's being played out, because those events are now coming around to be looked at for manifestation and completion in the 7th day of this cycle. Barbara Hand Clow has said all along that there will be an opening of 9 dimensions of consciousness accessible to everybody during the 7th day of the universal cycle, and particularly on October 28, 2011. And with the opening of 9 dimensions of consciousness, we have the ability to manifest through using the higher dimensions in order to plant seeds of what we want to create in the 3rd dimension, by manifesting the perfected form of whatever it is we're looking to have in the 3rd dimension. By putting that in the 6th dimension, it actually trickles down and appears in the 3rd dimension. More information about this is available in Barbara Hand Clow's book, Alchemy of 9 Dimensions. So, as I go through and I'm going to describe the quality of 7th day energy, I think one of the things that's going to be important to realize is that the 7th day in all these previous levels had also incorporated the time period of the higher level. So we have not completed the 7th day of any of these levels. So when I'm describing 7th day energy, I'm going to describe the energy from the opening of the 7th day prior to it beginning the next higher level of consciousness. For instance, the 7th day of this galactic cycle, this began on November 3rd, 2010, but then on March 9th, 2011, we began the universal cycle. So when I'm describing, I'm going to describe the previous cycles of what was attributed to the 7th day energy prior to talking about the events prior to the opening of the next higher cycle. During the regional cycle, which is also this cultural cycle down here, the 7th day period began with goddess horticulture, and the long count of the Mayan calendar also began began during the seventh day of the regional. The national cycles, the seventh day began 1616 AD and of course continues into the present. But at the beginning of the seventh day, this brought the expansion of Christianity through pilgrims and missionaries and the genocide of indigenous people. Also during that time period, there were witch trials, and there was the exploration and colonization of native environments all over the world. And what this is the quality of imposing the power of the nation on other parts of the world. During the planetary cycle, the seventh day was 1992 to 2011, and during the opening of that seventh day between 1992 and the beginning of 1999, what we see is there was a plethora of computer networks and the internet shifting us into a planetary consciousness. The beginning of the seventh day of the planetary cycle also brought us the end of the Cold War. Nelson Mandela was elected president of South Africa. Hong Kong was returned to China. Princess Diana died in a car crash. Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated. And in the United States, President Clinton was impeached. We had riots over the Rodney King verdict in LA. This was also the time period of the Oklahoma City bombings, the violent resolution of the armed standoff in Waco, Texas, and also the World Trade Center bombings. The seventh day of the galactic cycle, which is November 3rd, 2010 to October 28th, 2011. At the beginning of that cycle, we saw revolution in Egypt. We saw the European Union putting together a rescue deal for Ireland. And in the United States, we had attempted assassination of an Arizona congresswoman by an unstable individual who ended up killing 6 other people. My hope is, with all this movement through the seventh day of all these 9 levels of the Tun calendar, that humanity is moving into balance with no need to act violently against each other or against our Mother Earth. I believe that we've entered into a time of seeing that we are all one people on one planet, and that we're here to serve Gaia and not exploit our Mother. There is only us. As I've said before, if you're struggling with this energy, please continue to take care of yourself and take care of those you love. This intensity for an opening of consciousness is going to last 26 more days, completing on October 28th, 2011. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth, the final segment of prenatal care for the birth of a new world age. Will be on October 16th for 1 star. It will also discuss the Scorpio new moon and the peak of the 7th day completion and completion of the Mayan Tun calendar. And as always, I'm greatly blessed that you're taking the time to connect with the information I'm putting out there. Honestly, this has been an interesting journey, and I've been very, very grateful for all of you who connected in with this message. I like it when people contact me, send me emails, or comment on the Facebook page or the YouTube page. Anyway, it is a great honor for me to serve you and share this information with you. So, as always, I invite you to contact me. You can email me at newworldbirth, all one word, at yahoo.com, and I'm available for readings if you're interested in something like that. Anyway, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.